Hare Krishna. Please, someone start the kirtan. Request someone to start the kirtan.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, can you hear me? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, can you hear me? Can anyone confirm?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you. Hare Krishna.
1 second.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, and those. Can we request any of the devotees to chant Kirtan for 5 minutes? Anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna, Gita Mataji, Dandos. You want to chant Kirtan, Gita Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna,
everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Gita Mataji, you already completed the Kirtan? Or you were still chanting? All right, let me get Mridanga. Give me 2 minutes. I'll start chanting. Mahesh Prabhu, you want to chant Kirtan?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can chant.
Please, thank you.
Vaishnav Bhajan, okay, Prabhu?
Also, can we request devotees to keep the video on?
Prabhuji, Vaishnav Bhajan, okay, Prabhuji? Vaishnav Bhajan?
It will take very long, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay.
Chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना वनचारी यमुना वनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नाम संकीर्तन की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय श्रील गुरुदेव की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल
Thank you. Prabhuji. We'll start
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Mangalacharan prayers. Hare Krishna, P.S. Murthy Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I just wanted to check with you. For obvious reasons, I have not. I've asked for, never asked for chanting anything or singing kirtana or reading. But I wanted to just check with you, and you have been only allowing Vaishnav kirtanas. I just wanted to ask you that one of these days, if my throat is better, can you accept my chanting a few verses of no chanting, not Vaishnav Kirtana or Bengali bhajans, Prabhu, I don't know those, but can you ask me just chanting a few verses from few choice verses from Vishnu Sahasranam?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it acceptable?
Yeah, Vishnu Sahasranam is valid one, and we will plan time in the subsequent sessions, Prabhuji.
So if you allow me one of these days,
Sure,
when my throat is better, I will chant Prabhu.
sure,
And
sure,
I just select a few verses and it will be a 1-2 minutes.
sure, sure, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So we will start with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nashtapraeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatir uttama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Dandavats. Welcome you all to today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam as part of the Bakthi Vaibhav course.
Prabhu, I have a question, but
Prabhuji,
not related to current second canto chapters. I
yeah,
have a question related
Prabhuji,
to Srimad Bhagavatam.
Prabhuji, we'll give time in the end, if that is okay. We'll give dedicated time in the end. Okay? Thank you.
Fine, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So, to give some background, one second.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats Mataji. Rasarangini Mataji, are we already live?
We are live, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, fine. To give some background to the discussion, we saw in the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Shukadev Goswami has begun answering the first two questions by Maharaj Parikshit. The first two questions in the secondary set of questions that Maharaj Parikshit has asked, which is, what is the activity that is recommended towards path of perfection for people in general, and especially what are the activities recommended for a person who is about to die. And in response to this question, we see Shukadev Goswami, he has established the superiority of Bhakti Yoga in chapter 1 of Canto 2. However, this particular description of the superiority of Bhakti Yoga has been done by Shukadev Goswami as a one path fits all for all types of transcendentalists, including the karmis, the yogis, the jnanis, etc. But we did also mention as part of this particular discussion that not everyone in the assembly of the sages who had assembled in that particular place, which is now known as Shukatal, to hear from Shukadev Goswami on the banks of the Ganges, not everyone was on the path of devotional service, pure devotional service. Some of them were also on the other path of transcendental realization, including the path of Ashtanga Yoga, etc. So in order to cater to those audience and also gradually encourage them, support them to come to the path of pure devotional service, we see Shukadev Goswami beginning to cover other paths of transcendental realization and then bringing forth the conclusion how Bhakti Yoga is applicable even to those practitioners and how it is still the ultimate path of perfection for all types of transcendentalists. So at the concluding part of chapter 1, we saw the detailed description of the Virata Rupa, the form of Virata Rupa, and how we saw categorization of the two types of yogis and which of those yogis is specifically recommended to meditate on this Virata Purusha, Virata Rupa form of the Lord, and how that yogi can also gradually progress to meditate on the Paramatma form, on the Super Soul form, and how he can also attain liberation in the end. And specifically, when we talk about liberation for a yogi, we talk about the impersonal liberation, not the personal liberations, which are 4 out of the prominent 5 types of liberation. Murli Prabhu, your camera is showing blur, Prabhuji. Maybe you can take a look.
Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna. Yes,
You just mentioned a name, Prabhuji. What is that name? The place where Shukadev Goswami was?
it is currently known as Shukatal.
Shukatal.
Shukatal, yes. So,
Thank you.
And we saw the exact location wise. It is near the banks of Ganges, but Srila Prabhupada explains in detail that it could mean banks of Ganges or banks of Yamuna as well.
Can I ask one question, Prabhu?
We will have in the end.
Virata Rupa.
Okay.
It is mentioned that Virata Rupa is Paramatma.
No, we mentioned that there are 2 types of meditation that Ashtanga yogis take. Those which are attached, who are attached to the material enjoyment, they are advised to meditate on Virata Rupa, which is an imaginary form of the Lord and a material form made of material elements. However, Paramatma is one of the expansions of the Lord, and that is neither imaginary nor it is material.
So what should we meditate on, Prabhuji? On Virata Rupa? No.
We should meditate on the personal feature of the Lord as a practitioner, devotees, that is best.
In the heart. Paramatma in the heart.
Paramatma in the heart is still for the yogis. We are suggested by great authorities like Kapila Muni, as we mentioned briefly in the third canto, chapter 27th of Srimad Bhagavatam. Specifically, he recommends for devotees to meditate on the personal form of the Lord, which is the Shama Sundar form.
Thank you.
That meditation is the best.
Thank you.
Yeah. So whatever is the current recommendation by Shukadev Goswami is mainly for those participants within the audience who are not exactly on the platform of devotional service. So to encourage them, to bring them to the platform of devotional service, pure devotional service, Shukadev Goswami is covering these other aspects or different paths towards transcendental realization, starting with Ashtanga Yoga in chapter 1. And in chapter 2, he would also discuss about Karma Kanda as well, and basically discuss the futility of Karma Kanda. So basically, all these different paths, starting with Karma Kanda is not referred to as the path of transcendental realization. It is the one step before that. So Karma Yoga is one of the authorized paths for transcendental realization. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. And step before Karma Yoga is the Karma Kanda, which is nothing but fruitive activities for material enjoyment. So that path also Shukadev Goswami discusses. And then subsequent parts of his discussion as part of the canto 2 deal with the process of primary creation, which is called as Sarga, and the secondary creation, which is called as Visarga, through the reference to Brahma and Narada Samvada. So that will come later. And subsequent, the last portion of canto 2, we will discuss about Maharaj Parikshit's questions and the Chatushloki Srimad Bhagavatam. So similar to Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, we have Chatushloki Srimad Bhagavatam, the original 4 verses spoken by Lord Krishna to Lord Brahma. So that also we will discuss in the later part of this particular canto. So first we will start with one of the quotation by Srila Prabhupada. So this second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2 is broken down into different sections. First being the Karma Kanda section, because Shukadev Goswami, as we discussed, wants to encourage practitioners of this particular process as well. And somebody might have question that why Karma Kanda is also discussed, is also considered by Shukadev Goswami for discussion in Srimad Bhagavatam, how it is relevant to ultimate realization of the absolute. Why Karma Kanda is also taken into consideration, because ultimately even the Karma Kanda portion, it has reference to the Vedas, which are part of the creation by the Supreme Lord for the gradual spiritual elevation of mankind. So because it has reference to the Vedas, which are originating from the Supreme Lord, we will also see how do devotees have their outlook towards these Vedic scriptures, which are apparently they may seem below the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, but we have to be very careful in order to not minimize the importance, not basically be critical of the scriptures, and acknowledge the importance of the scriptures as creation of God. So we will touch upon this particular topic. Then next part of this particular chapter, text 8 to 11, is about the description of the super soul feature. That means the Jnani's meditation on the Paramatma feature of the Lord. And Dharanashraya for the 2 kinds of yogis. So the chart that we discussed last time, the yogis that are attached to material enjoyment versus who have been able to detach themselves from the path of material enjoyment, how those kinds of yogis progress to the next step of the yoga practice. And what is the ultimate goal for the yoga practice for an advanced yogi? How they are able to give up their body at the desired time, place, and circumstances of their choice. So we will discuss the practice and process of leaving the body for an advanced yogi, and what is Kramashaha Mukti or gradual process of liberation, which we also discussed briefly as part of the flow, and how sadhana bhakti is the best. What is the conclusion by Shukadev Goswami after discussing all these parts of Ashtanga Yoga, Karma Kanda, meditation on the super soul, and different types of yogis who practice this type of meditation on Virata Rupa and the super soul feature of the Lord. What is the conclusion of Shukadev Goswami after discussing all these different parts? So we'll start with one specific quotation by Srila Prabhupada on meditation by devotees. Anybody would like to read through? Apologies for the small text because I wanted to fit in everything in one slide. So keep the hands on whoever wants to read through. Okay, Rohini Mataji, Hare Krishna. Is the whole slide visible, Rohini Mataji, or some of it is getting covered because of the other windows that are open?
Prabhuji, it is visible.
Okay, fine.
Srila Prabhupada Vacha, meditation for a devotee. Guest 3. Do you practice meditation in your center? Hamsa Duta. Our meditation consists of chanting the holy name of the God, or in fact, we are always absorbed in meditating because whatever we do on behalf of Krishna. So, our mind, which is the center of our activities, is always observed on Krishna. Worship me, give your love to me. In this way, you will come to me. So, if we want to go to Krishna, Prabhupada, that is the highest, topmost type of yoga. Yoginam api sarvesham madgata antaratmana Shradhavan bhajate yo mam sami yuktatmo mataha. Bhagavad Gita 6.47. Anyone, Krishna says, who is thinking of me always within his heart with devotion and love, he is topmost yogi. Yoginam api sarvesham. So, this Hare Krishna movement, as soon as you chant Krishna and hear it, immediately you will think of. And the chanting is not done by any ordinary man. Unless one has love and devotion for Krishna, he cannot chant. You just study with this verse. Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam antaratmana. Within he is topmost. So this Krishna conscious movement means we are training people to become the topmost yogis. Guest 3. Do they have to practice every day? Prabhupada. The practice is very simple. Anyone, when you chant Hare Krishna mantra, even child joins. Even a small child, he also claps and joins. Therefore, it is recommended in the Shastras, Harer Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalau Nasti Eva Nasti Eva Nasti Eva. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi 17.21. In this age, nobody can meditate actually. It is very difficult. Maybe 1 or 2 people can meditate, but that is not for all. But here, Krishna consciousness, the chanting is so nice that even a child can take part. It doesn't require that he should be educated. He should be rich or he should be enlightened. There is no... 1 second. Okay. No. As he is, simply if he takes part in this, even women, we are chanting. There was some roaring. As soon as we begin chanting, it stopped. This is authorized. This is recommended. And this is practically being now in European and American countries 4 or 5 years back. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
You are muted, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, sorry, I was on mute. So as mentioned in reference to the question asked by Prema Priya Jayashree Mataji a while ago, in modern times, Srila Prabhupada is writing that the process of meditation is so difficult that even when we mention about meditating on the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Even when we talk about meditating on the personal form of the Lord, that is not considered as our primary process of meditation. Our primary process of meditation is chanting the holy names of the Lord, because the meditation at the level of mind is so difficult, mind is so restless, that Prabhupada mentions hardly very few people in this current day and times are capable of keeping their mind steady on the form of the Lord. So it is best we chant and we hear. That is the best form of meditation that is recommended. So now we proceed with the verses. So we see, in order to cover different paths of transcendental realization and bringing the practitioners of those paths to the level of pure devotional service, Shukadev Goswami is describing the different types of yogis, object of meditation for those type of yogis, including Virata Rupa for those yogis who are attached to material enjoyment, and Paramatma, form of the Lord, for yogis who are detached, who have transcended the stage of material enjoyment, who have become totally detached from the stage of material enjoyment. How the object of meditation for them is Paramatma, form of the Lord, and how do such yogis practice the meditation on the Paramatma feature of the Lord. So all this will be discussed by Shukadev Goswami in this second chapter of Canto 2 Srimad Bhagavatam. So let us start with the verse first. We'll request devotees one by one. Mahesh Prabhu, you want to chant first verse?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare.
Evam puradharanayatmayoni.
Prabhuji, you can chant from Shuka Uvach.
Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shuka
Sri
Uvach.
Shuka Uvacha.
Evam puradharanayatmayoni.
Evam
Puradharanayatmayoni.
Nashtam smritim pratyavarodhya tushtat.
Nashtam
Smritim pratyabhadudatustam.
Tatha sa sarjedam amogha drishti. Yatha pyayat prag vyavasaya buddhi.
Translation.
Translation purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, formerly, prior to the manifestation of the cosmos, Lord Brahma, by meditating on the Virat Roop, regained his lost consciousness by appeasing the Lord. Thus he was able to rebuild the creation as it was before.
So before we go to the purport, the background to this particular verse, we see Shukadev Goswami, he's more or less always after explaining a particular point. We typically see Shukadev Goswami prefers to give an example to elaborate that particular point or principle. Like in the first chapter of Canto 2, we see that when Shukadev Goswami mentioned that how various transcendentalists, including the Gyanis, have perfected their life through this process of Harer Nama Anukirtanam. Shukadev Goswami gave his own example, how at one point in time, he was also a Brahmavadi, how he was also a Gyani, and subsequently being attracted to the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, he also took up to this path of pure devotional service. So here, after describing the meditation on the Virata Rupa feature of the Lord by a certain section of the yogis, Shukadev Goswami is specifically giving example of a personality, Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma also meditated on the form of the Virata Rupa in order to regain the memory, remembrance of the creative potency. And there is a specific chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 3, chapter 9, which is called Lord Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. And the background to this particular chapter is this particular day of Lord Brahma has started. Each day of Lord Brahma is called as a Kalpa. And it happens to be the current day of Lord Brahma. Current Srimad Bhagavatam that we have, it more or less covers the pastimes of the Lord or his devotees that have happened in the current day of Lord Brahma or current Kalpa. There are some exceptions, like Narada Muni describing his past life as the son of a maid servant, which happened in the previous Kalpa of Lord Brahma. But more or less, our Srimad Bhagavatam, it covers the activities of the Lord and his mentioned set of devotees that have happened in the current day of Lord Brahma. So in this particular day, when Lord Brahma started his day, he woke up out of his slumber, out of his sleep. It is mentioned by the acharyas that on few days, he does not recollect the exact activities or the duties what he is supposed to perform. And then Srimad Bhagavatam mentions that how he goes up and down the stair and he does not get an answer. And then he hears the word tapa, meditate, and then starts meditating. And then how Lord within the heart instructs Lord Brahma, inspires him to perform the specific set of activities that he is assigned to. So this particular example is given by Shukadev Goswami, although we see that what was the goal of the yogis, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, in the earlier chapter 1, when we discussed meditation by the yogis on the Virata form of the Lord, Virata Rupa of the Lord. What is their goal typically for the yogis? Anyone?
Control of the mind.
Yes, control of the mind, but specifically what is mentioned in the chapter. What do they ultimately want to achieve?
Brahma Jyoti.
Brahma Jyoti.
Brahma Jyoti, liberation, impersonal liberation. But here we see that the example that is quoted by Shukadev Goswami is Lord Brahma meditating on the Virata Rupa to achieve liberation? No. The ultimate goal that Lord Brahma wants to achieve by meditation on Virata Rupa form of the Lord, in this case, as mentioned in Canto 3, chapter 9 of Srimad Bhagavatam, is to perform his intended assigned duties, which is duty of creation, secondary creation, Visarga. So still Shukadev Goswami is giving the example of Lord Brahma to explain this process of meditation on the Virata Rupa form of the Lord, because Lord Brahma is a very, very prominent personality. So that example is very easy to understand for Maharaj Parikshit, all the audience, all the sages that are assembled in that particular assembly, plus all of us, the hearers of Srimad Bhagavatam, or those who are participating in the discussions on Srimad Bhagavatam. For all of us, it's very easier to relate to the example of Lord Brahma. So his example is being quoted by Shukadev Goswami to explain this process of meditation on the Virata Rupa form. So let me just check the purport. It is not too long. Prabhuji, you can go through the complete purport. Mahesh Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhuji. The example cited herein of Sri Brahmaji is one of forgetfulness. Brahmaji is the incarnation of one of the mundane attributes of the Lord. Being the incarnation of the passion mode of material nature, he is empowered by the Lord to generate the beautiful material manifestation. Yet, due to his being one of the numerous living entities, he is apt to forget the art of his creative energy. This forgetfulness of the living being, beginning from Brahma down to the lowest insignificant ant, is a tendency which can be counteracted by meditation on the Virat Roop of the Lord. This chance is available in the human form of life, and if a human being follows the instruction of Srimad Bhagavatam and begins to meditate upon the Virat Rupa, then revival of his pure consciousness and counteraction of the tendency to forget his eternal relationship with the Lord can follow simultaneously. And as soon as this forgetfulness is removed, the Vyavasaya Buddhi, as mentioned here and in the Bhagavad Gita 2.41, follows at once. This ascertained knowledge of the living being leads to loving service to the Lord, which the living being requires. The kingdom of God is unlimited. Therefore, the number of the assisting hands of the Lord is also unlimited. The Bhagavad Gita 13.14 asserts that the Lord has his hands, legs, eyes, and mouths in every nook and corner of his creation. This means that the expansions of differentiated parts and parcels, called jivas or living entities, are assisting hands of the Lord, and all of them are meant for rendering a particular pattern of service to the Lord. The conditioned soul, even in the position of a Brahma, forgets this by the influence of the illusory material energy generated out of false egoism. One can counteract such false egoism by invoking God consciousness. Liberation means getting out of the slumber of forgetfulness and becoming situated in the real loving service of the Lord, as exemplified in the case of Brahma. The service of Brahma is the sample of service and liberation distinguished from the so-called altruistic services full of mistakes and forgetfulness. Liberation is never inaction, but service without human mistakes. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai.
jai.
So there are few points to note in this particular purport. First being, why is meditation on the Virata Rupa form of the Lord is recommended, although we previously mentioned that Virata Rupa is an imaginary form of the Lord. It does not exist in the spiritual world. Second thing, we also discussed quite in detail in the previous chapter how Virata Rupa form of the Lord is specifically, Virata Rupa meditation on the form of the Lord is specifically mentioned for people who are not able to appreciate the transcendental form, who are at a very preliminary stage of their pursuit of transcendental realization. For such people on the material platform, because they can't appreciate the transcendental platform of the Lord, they can only appreciate what their senses can perceive, which are material elements. So for those people, to ease their ability to meditate on the Lord, this Virata Rupa meditation is described. So if that is the case, why is Srimad Bhagavatam recommending the meditation on the Virata Rupa even for the beginners? Because even if it is the meditation on the imaginary form of the Lord, it is authorized process of meditation because it is given in the scriptures. So that means even if it may be a preliminary process, since it is authorized in the scriptures, the meditator will definitely achieve those benefits that are mentioned as Falashruti in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is mentioned that then revival of his pure consciousness and counteraction of the tendency to forget his eternal relationship with the Lord can follow simultaneously. That means even if this meditation is at a very preliminary level of meditation on the form of the Lord, the results are substantial because it is the authorized process. So conclusion is that even a preliminary authorized process can still bear substantial results than a concocted process which is not mentioned in the scriptures for transcendental realization. So Virat Rup may be material, Virat Rup may be imaginary, but still meditating on the form of the Virata Rupa can have substantial benefit in terms of one's transcendental realization, in terms of achieving the spiritual perfection to a degree that one can remember our relationship with the Lord and can be engaged in proper service of the Lord. And regarding the service of the Lord, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the concluding part that this service is not like some altruistic services that are rendered by materialistic men, like service to the mankind, Madhav Seva is Manav Seva is Madhav Seva, so on and so forth. Concocted ideas this service by Lord Brahma is not like those concocted service ideas. It is the substantial service that has been assigned by the Supreme Lord himself to Lord Brahma, which is the process of secondary creation, Visarga. So let us go to the slide once. And yes, Prabhupada writes in the purport, this ascertained knowledge of the living being leads to loving service of the Lord. This ascertained knowledge resultant of what? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, go back to the purport. What does Srila Prabhupada write this statement after? He mentions that the meditation on the Virat Rup form of the Lord will equip the practitioner with enlightenment in knowledge, and that knowledge will ultimately lead the living entity to render loving service unto the Lord, which the living being requires. So, although this process of meditation may be very preliminary, it may be recommended, frankly speaking, for materialists who can't appreciate the transcendental form of the Lord, but still one should not deride this particular process. It is still significant and it is still relevant. So here comes the point. I think Srila Prabhupada also touches it. That we chant in the morning as part of the morning program 10 different offenses to the holy names, to the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Like first is to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy names of the Lord. And then second one, to consider the names of the demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the names of Lord Vishnu. Third is to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. And fourth offense is this, to blaspheme the Vedic literatures or literatures in pursuance of the Vedic version. So there are definitely Vedic literatures, including the Puranas, including the Vedas. We saw the critical analysis of the Vedic writings by Narada Muni that Srila Vyasadeva has composed, how Narada Muni mentions that mainly these Vedas talk about the four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. And the result of following these four Purusharthas is that the material fever of the conditioned living entities, it increases further. That means for a longer period of time, they get stuck in this material world. So although the fallacies do exist in terms of following the Vedic literatures in truth and spirit, a person can get stuck in this material world for a very, very long period of time. But still, being devotees, we cannot deny the relevance of those Vedic scriptures because they very well deal and they very well help those people who are at that particular stage of transcendental realization. So just like often we give the example that mathematics, it is not just meant for people who have cleared their +2, who have already cleared their graduation or post-graduation. We also have mathematics for the kindergarten. And kindergarten student, when they are taught mathematics, they are taught in a very simplistic way. That if you take out 2 sticks out of 5 sticks that are kept, then only 3 sticks will remain. So they are taught mathematics that only the lower number can be deducted from a higher number. Now, if we consider mathematics as a whole, we can see even the higher number can be deducted from a lower number. 2 minus 3 is also possible, but that is not necessarily taught to the kindergarten student because he is at a level where for him appreciation of the mathematics is much more important than clearing of some of the concepts which can be clarified later. So all these other scriptures, Vedic literatures, including the various types of Shrutis, the Vedas, even if they are talking about Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha, the process of following the religious principles for enjoying the material, for getting and enjoying the material facilities, it may seem a materialistic way which can keep a person bound, but that is necessary for a person to develop his or her faith in the Vedic scriptures, and gradually such a person can be elevated. Similarly, what to speak of, no, this may be a very gross example, but let's take example of a scripture which all of us have studied as part of Bhakti Shastri course, the Ishopanishad. In Ishopanishad, we have a specific verse where the petitioner, where the devotee prays to the Lord that, oh my dear Lord, please do not forget whatever service I have done for you life after life, right? And this is not a very advanced prayer, because this is not the prayer of a pure devotee. Pure devotee, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us phrase that, my dear Lord, if you wish, put me in hell. If you wish, put me in heaven. But I only want to be engaged in your devotional service, life after life after life. That is the prayer of pure devotional service. But in Ishopanishad, we see a prayer which is not exactly on the platform of pure devotional service. How it is so? Because these Upanishads are also relevant to cater to the persons of a certain level, of a certain stature in devotional service, namely the persons on the level of jnana. So Ishopanishad, as we discussed in the introduction to Ishopanishad as part of the Bhakti Shastri course, Srila Prabhupada, Ishopanishad, he never wrote it as a book. Srila Prabhupada wrote articles on the verses of Ishopanishad in the Back to Godhead magazine, and the compilation of all those articles, devotees published in the form of a book. So Srila Prabhupada specifically writes in the introduction part that these articles Srila Prabhupada has written from the devotional service point of view. Why? Because the Jnanis, they refer to these specific verses of Ishopanishad to Jnanis, and the Nirvisheshwadis, the Mayavadis, they refer to these verses of Ishopanishad to drive their impersonalistic agenda in order to counteract those arguments by these other types of transcendentalists. Srila Prabhupada wrote a Vaishnava commentary on these verses of Ishopanishad. So the conclusion is that these different literatures, like we saw the example of Vedas, we saw the example of Ishopanishad, which is still considered as one of the Upanishads that is on a higher side compared to the other Upanishads, 108 Upanishads that are existing. But even these writings, even these Vedic literatures are also containing portions that are not exactly on the level of pure devotional service. Any question, comment, Prabhuji's, Mataji's on this? That how these Vedic literatures, even if they are writing something which is not on the platform of pure devotional service, what should be our attitude towards those scriptures? Our attitude should be one of acknowledgement and acknowledging their relevance to bring the practitioner to the platform of pure devotional service. One cannot ignore that. Anyone has any questions? Prabhuji's, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Divya Rukmini Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, my question is in this purport, he mentioned that Brahma is forgot what he did in previous life, like previous
day, Kalpa.
Previous day. Okay, okay, that is the confusion. Okay, that means the creation is happening every day of. Okay, so as a devotee, because the pralaya is happening like that dissolution. I mean, the dissolution is happening like it's not happening every day till Brahmaloka, no? That means the after
Swargaloka, till Swargaloka it happens.
Till okay. That means till Swargaloka the dissolution is happening. That Brahmaloka still should be there.
Yeah, not only Brahmaloka, the upper 4 planetary systems, including Janaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, and Brahmaloka. So none of them are affected by the day-to-day dissolution on the day of Brahma.
Okay, so the all material, all this Brahmanda is not dissolute. I mean
dissolved, not
dissolved. Okay, then how he is forgetting that the day before things like he is just sleeping and like what we are as a normal human beings, we are sleeping in the night and we are remembering the what has happened and day before is like no, as such a great devotee, is it illusionary power of Lord, or I don't. Can you please light me up this one? Is
Yeah.
some.
So Prabhupada mentions in the purport that even Brahma is what type of incarnation of the Lord he is? Brahma?
Rajo Guna.
Guna avatar, which is
Yeah.
he is specifically incarnation of the mode of passion. So
Passion,
yeah, so definitely both as a living entity as well as an incarnation of the Lord in the mode of passion, he is also subjected to be influenced by the illusory energy of the Lord few times, Mataji. Okay.
Okay.
So that is not at all surprising, but we are fortunate that this very same Brahma, he may be forgetful of his duties at one particular point in time, but he's still a pure devotee of the Lord, so that we are very fortunate. Krishna is teaching through his various representatives, including Lord Brahma, certain very important lessons, that how we have to be very careful, and till the time we go back to Godhead, we are prone to all these fallacies of a conditioned soul, of a conditioned living being. Okay? So Hare Krishna. So it is not at all. In fact, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are few sections mentioning about some of the other instances where Brahmaji did get influenced by the illusory energy of the Lord, but that does not minimize his position as a pure devotee. He is still on the exalted platform. And not only is he on the exalted platform, in relation to the dissolution that you were mentioning a while ago, it is also mentioned all these residents of the higher planetary system, including Janaloka, they move to Maharloka. Maharloka residents move to Tapaloka, and all these residents also take shelter of Brahmaloka during inundation or during the dissolution of this material cosmos on the day-to-day dissolution of Lord Brahma. And at the end of Lord Brahma's life, all these residents of the higher planetary system, especially Brahmaloka, they are all taken back home, back to Godhead by Lord Brahma. Of course, there can be some exceptions, but in general, all the residents, they are taken back home, back to Godhead by Lord Brahma. There also, in Brahmaloka also, while they are in the material cosmic manifestation, they practice devotional service. So he still remains a great devotee, but sometimes he's affected by the illusory energy of the Lord.
One more question, Prabhu. So when we are in Janaloka, by chance we reached in Janaloka, there is a chance to move to upper worlds, like till Brahmaloka. From there also, if we do the devotional service, then we can go back to Godhead, no?
Yes.
Am I right, Prabhu?
Yes.
But
that is not an express path. That is an indirect path to go back to Godhead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I understood, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
And one more thing, let me tell you that even those residents of the higher planetary system, let's take the example of Brahmaloka itself. It is not that everybody is on the platform of pure devotional service. They have an opportunity to perfect their life, perform devotional service, and go back to Godhead, following the path of Lord Brahma, their leader. But there also not everyone is at the level of pure devotional service. They also have certain attachments, which are again mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, but they are still at a glorious level. They are much on a higher level than the Devatas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One more point I wanted to mention, but I forgot. Yeah, so it is very important for the devotees to properly understand these other scriptures, including the Vedic writings, Puranas, Upanishads, etc., and not deride them that, oh, I am studying Srimad Bhagavatam, so I am studying something which is on a higher platform. I don't need to bother about them. We may not need to study those scriptures. We may not need to follow their instruction, but we still acknowledge their position in bringing the conditioned living entities gradually to the platform of pure devotional service. We should not disrespect them. Any questions, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, any other questions before we proceed?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. I had one question. Here, Brahmaji is also a pure devotee of the Lord, but they have like I'm a bit confused as to why he has to meditate on the Virata Rupa.
Yeah, very good question. That why Brahmaji is meditating on the Virata Rupa form of the Lord, although he is a pure devotee. So, see, there are examples of various pure devotees who have come from different background paths, Mataji. Like we saw the example of Shukadev Goswami himself, who was a Brahmavadi at one particular point in time, and even Shama Gopika Mataji had asked this question that how is being mentioned as a Brahmavadi, although he is such a Mahabhagavad devotee now. So all of these devotees, they have their past. So we cannot judge them on that. So now he is a pure devotee, but at one particular time, at the beginning of this particular day, current day, which is running, which is called as Padma Kalpa. Padma Kalpa means that day on which the lotus does manifest from the navel of Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Brahmaji does go up and down that stem of the lotus, and then he does meditate sitting on that lotus flower on the form of the Lord. So why he does meditate on that, to be honest, exact answer I don't know. But one thing we know for sure, that that is his past. He is a pure devotee now and destined to go back to Godhead at the end of his life. So from what status he came up with, I don't know much, Mataji.
Okay.
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. So
Hare
point is, we acknowledge his spiritual stature based on his current state, which is he has become a pure devotee of the Lord. But whatever is his past, yes.
Prabhu, can I add something, Prabhu?
Yes, bro. Just 1 second. I'll finish. I'll let you add. So
You know about what we were talking, what we were discussing, Prabhu.
yeah, just give me 1 minute, Prabhuji. I'll finish my point.
No.
I will let you
Yes,
speak.
please.
Hare Krishna. So for Lord Brahma, whatever is his past, that is from a certain practice that he has performed. And even examples I mentioned, that sometimes he also becomes victim to the illusory energy of the Lord, but that does not reduce or minimize his position in any way. And to conclude, one last point, we see Bhagavad Gita 9:31 and 9:32, where Lord Krishna mentions that even my devotee, if he is steadily engaged in the process of devotional service, even if they are accidental fall downs, etc., Krishna personally takes the responsibility to reinstate that devotee on the path of devotional service, provided he is continuing with his practice. He is not discontinuing. So based on these references, we can understand he still remains that much exalted of a personality and not a ordinary person. Hare Krishna. Yes, P.S. Murthy Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu, I just wanted to add something to what was being discussed about why Brahma meditates on Sri Krishna. You know, in Bhagavatam, it is there that at one point, Brahma becomes very arrogant of his own power, and he wanted to test the divinity of Sri Krishna. So he takes away the cows and cowherd boys, and Krishna instantly recreates them, and makes them, creates them in front of him. Presents him in front of him, and to show the smallness of Brahma, Krishna also shows him the multiverse, the different Brahmas of different lokas. Then Brahma falls in the feet of Sri Krishna. And that is probably one reason why Brahmaji meditates on him.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So you gave reference to two specific pastimes. One is the Brahma Vimohan Leela, which comes in 10th canto, where Lord Brahma, in order to test whether this small child is indeed Supreme Personality of Godhead, he steals the coward boys and the calves. And second reference you gave was the one particular incident when Brahma came to visit Lord Krishna in Dwaraka.
In the 7th canto, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. So,
7th canto and 10th canto.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, and in order to act upon the pride of Lord Brahma, Lord Krishna held him at the doorstep and asked the guard to ask Lord Brahma which specific Lord Brahma is he. And then Lord Brahma is very surprised. Are there more Lord Brahmas existing within the cosmic manifestation? And then Lord Krishna calls upon Brahmas from all different Brahmandas, which are much, much more expansive than ours one. And there are Brahmas even of 100 heads and thousands heads and millions of heads. And Lord Brahma is humbled in that particular manner. So let us proceed.
From the poet, what is said is, when Brahma comes, I mean, somebody, the doorman goes to Sri Krishna and tells that Brahmaji is there.
Yes, thank you.
So Sri Krishna says, which Brahma is there?
Mm.
So Brahma goes inside and then sees Sri Krishna and tells, what do you mean by which Brahma? I am the father of 4 Kumaras. I am the Brahma you are looking for. That's when he shows him the smallness of Brahma.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji. So we will proceed to text 2. So now the next section starts. So Virata Rupa, the meditation on the Virata Rupa form of the Lord, that explanation is over and the case study is over, which is of Lord Brahma. And at the end of this discussion, in our minds, at least offer our prayers to Lord Brahma that in no way we want to minimize his position. He still remains the pure devotee of the Lord and the best living entity in this material creation. So no way, in fact, he is the Acharya of the Sampradaya that we follow, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. But we just want to understand the specific lessons we can learn from his life as taught by Shukadev Goswami. So then we proceed to the next particular section, text 2 onwards. So let's recite the verse first. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, Hare Krishna, you want to recite, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shabdasya hi brahmanahesha pantha. Yannamabhirdhyayati dhir aparthai. Paribrahmam statra na vindate arthan. Maya maye vasanayas shayanaha.
So before we go to the translation and purport, starting this particular verse, Shukadev Goswami is going to describe the futility of the path of Karma Kanda. And he uses various adjectives to reflect the futility of this particular path. One particular adjective he uses, Maya Maye Vasanaya Shayanaha. Just like Shayana means a sleeping man, just like a sleeping man, he imagines so many different types of pleasures in his dreams, but those pleasures, they remain in dream only. They don't manifest in actual reality. Similarly, what is the similarity of this particular example with the path of Karma Kanda? Similarly, the path of Karma Kanda, Shabdasya hi Brahmana Esha Pantha. This particular Pantha or this particular path in which the material enjoyment that is recommended or that is mentioned as the ultimate goal, it remains in the word format only, for the namesake only. There is no substantial reality in terms of the material enjoyment that the path of Karma Kanda promises. And we will see step by step how any reasonable, any logical person can understand the futility of this path of Karma Kanda practice. So let us go through the translation. Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The way of presentation of the Vedic sounds is so bewildering that it directs the intelligence of the people to meaningless things like the heavenly kingdoms. The conditioned souls hover in dreams of such heavenly illusory pleasures, but actually they do not relish any tangible happiness in such places. Should we continue, purport, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji. You can
Yeah.
continue the highlighted. Okay.
Yes,
Or
yes.
bit, you can continue whole purport, Mataji.
Whole purport?
Yeah.
Okay, right. The conditioned soul is always engaged in laying out plans for happiness within the material world, even up to the end of the universal limit. He is not even satisfied with the available amenities on this planet Earth, where he has exploited the resources of nature to the best of his ability. He wants to go to the moon or the planet Venus to exploit resources there. But the Lord has warned him in Bhagavad Gita 8.16 about the worthlessness of all the innumerable planets of this universe, as well as those planets within other systems. There are innumerable universes and also innumerable planets in each of them, but none of them is immune to the chief miseries of material existence, namely the pangs of birth, the pangs of death, the pangs of old age, and the pangs of disease. The Lord says that even the topmost planet, known as the Brahmaloka or Satyaloka, and what to speak of other planets like the heavenly planets, is not a happy land for residential purposes due to the presence of material pangs as above mentioned. Conditioned souls are strictly under the laws of fruitive activities, and as such they sometimes go to Brahmaloka and again come down to Patalaloka as if there were unintelligent children on a merry-go-round. The real happiness is in the kingdom of God, where no one has to undergo the pangs of material existence. Therefore, the Vedic ways of fruitive activities for the living entities are misleading. One thinks of a superior way of life in this country or that, or on this planet or another, but nowhere in the material world can he fulfill his real desire of life, namely eternal life, full intelligence, and complete bliss. Indirectly, Srila Shukadeva Goswami affirms that Maharaja Parikshit in the last stage of life should not desire to transfer himself to the so-called heavenly planets, but should prepare himself for going back home, back to Godhead. None of the material planets nor the amenities available there for living conditions is everlasting. Therefore, one must have a factual reluctance to enjoy such temporary happiness as they afford. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So when I was preparing slide for this particular verse, the first thing that came to my mind the first thing that came to my mind was of course, we don't want to criticize any person, but we want to take that specific mentality for our evaluation. The firm organization SpaceX, which is into space exploration and about creating feasibility for mankind to start living on other planets. And Srila Prabhupada clearly mentions that as if the mankind have finished exploitation of this earthly planet enough that now they want to expand that exploitation on those regions which have been unexplored, either on this planet Earth or even on other planets like Mars, etc. And here in the notes, I have given one recent update which came only few days back about Russia finding a huge reserves of oil undersea in Antarctica. So these efforts have been going for a while, where countries, because the reserves for natural gas and oils, which have already been found till now, they are likely to be over by 2050. So as a result, there is a intense competition from all the countries, especially the leading countries like US and Russia, etc., to start exploring the new reserves so that they can remain on top of the world even beyond that. And as soon as it happened, as soon as Russia found such a huge reserve of oil and natural gas undersea in Antarctica, immediately the Western countries, they became very alarmed that would the power shift towards that particular country which has found this particular huge reserve of the natural resources. So point Srila Prabhupada is trying to mention is this particular mentality of the man to try and pursue material happiness at all cost, either on this planet Earth or even trying to go to other planets, but keeping the same pursuit of material enjoyment, it is never going to succeed. It is always like a illusory happiness. And Shukadev Goswami gives analogy to a happiness enjoyed in the dream by a sleeping man. It is always illusory. Similarly, the happiness that is mentioned in the Karma Kanda section of the scriptures, it is mentioned as Namabhi. Namabhi means it is only for namesake only. It does not exist in reality, in fact. So let us see some of the writings by our acharyas, predecessor acharyas on this. There is a famous quotation by Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur. Who was Prabodhananda Saraswati? Prabhuji's, Mataji's? What was his position? Of course, he's one of the acharyas during the time of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one of the authorized Vaishnava acharya, and his commentaries are very famous. But who was he in terms of position? He was related to another great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You can try, even if it is wrong, it is fine. Devotees can try.
Bhakti Vinod Thakur.
Bhakti Vinod. How he was related to Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur?
I'm just guessing. You said you can try.
Oh, yeah, no problem. No. So, okay. All right. Anyone else?
Prabhu.
No. So, Prabodhananda Saraswati was related to one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Gopala Bhatta Goswami. He was the uncle of Gopala Bhatta Goswami. So the names doesn't seem similar. Gopala Bhatta Goswami comes from the Sri Vaishnava family. His father Venkata Bhatta, he was the prime priest in Sri Rangam, and Prabodhananda Saraswati was the brother of Venkata Bhatta, and he also happened to be one of the great Vaishnava acharyas. So he has composed these particular verse which we are seeing on the screen, and in this verse we will see referred to only the first line, where he writes Kaivalyam Narakayate Tridasapur Akasha Pushpayate, and rest of the verse for now you ignore, and we will read through the commentary given by Srila Prabhupada and then try to discuss. Prema Priya Mataji, you want to read through this meaning, English?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. The shloka also I'll read, Prabhuji.
You can read the meaning only, Mataji. Yeah.
Sri Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has perfectly enunciated and broadcast the process of Bhakti Yoga. Consequently, for one who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the highest perfection of the Mayavadis, Kaivalya, or becoming one with the Supreme, is considered hellish. To say nothing of the Karmi's aspiration to be promoted to the heavenly planets. Devotees consider such goals to be worthless, phantasmagoria. They are also yogis who try to control their senses, but they can never succeed without coming to the stage of devotional service. The senses are compared to poisonous snakes, but the senses of a bhakta engaged in the service of the Lord are like snakes with their poisonous fangs removed. Reference?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur is writing Kaivalyam Narakayate. For a devotee, what is the topmost goal desired by a Mayavadi? Desired by a Brahmavadi or a Jnani of liberation, impersonal liberation, is like a Naraka, is like hell. Why? Because there is no service one can render to the Supreme Lord being situated in the Brahman effulgence of the Lord, in the Brahma Jyoti of the Lord. But still, if you consider the step-by-step transcendental realization, Bhagavatam 2nd chapter, 1st canto, it does mention Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan realization. So Brahman is still considered as the preliminary achievement for a transcendentalist. It is still at some level of transcendental hierarchy. But as far as Tridasapura means Swargaloka. Tridashapura means heavenly planets. So while Mukti or impersonal liberation is still hellish, it still forms the part of transcendental hierarchy. But as far as the heavenly planets and enjoyment on the heavenly planets is concerned, it is completely an illusion. It does not exist. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's Mataji. Please take care of the background sound. Co-host Prabhuji's Mataji. Hare Krishna. So, Tridasapura or the heavenly enjoyments, it is mentioned by Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur as Akasha Pushpayate. That means it is completely illusory. How? He gives the example of a flower blossoming in the sky. So a flower blossoming in the sky exists only in imagination. It does not exist in reality. So similarly, the enjoyment on the heavenly planets, it is an illusion. So you might say that one can go to the heavenly planets and enjoy a very, very long life of material enjoyment where senses have that much capacity to enjoy to that particular level of degree. Is it not true? Yes, definitely it is true, but it is still an illusion. Can anyone explain, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, or try and explain how heavenly enjoyment is also an illusion? Based on what particular criteria we can say that? Maybe we'll request devotees who have not spoken. Usha Mataji, Usha Kamat Mataji, you want to try?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Because that can also be just a temporary phase. You know, you can fall down from there, you can, come to a lower level even from there. So it is temporary and therefore it is illusory.
Very nice, Mataji. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma Bhunar Loka Punaravartino Arjuna, that from Lord Brahma to the lowest end, everybody is subjected to the process of birth and death. Nobody can escape from it. So this is one criteria based on which we can understand that the heavenly enjoyment is also illusory. Any other supporting evidence? Can anyone?
Prabhuji, one more thing, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Akasha itself is an illusion, Prabhuji.
Yes, Akasha is basically ether, is one of the 5 elements. So it does exist, but there is no pushpayate, there is no flower that is blossoming in the ether. So it is illusory. It is just example that is given by Prabodhananda Saraswati. How we can understand that heavenly enjoyment is illusory? Any other supporting fact we can give? Think for a minute.
It's Vishwamitra Muni is attracted to Menaka.
So how does it prove that heavenly enjoyment is also illusory?
He's a great devotee and
He was
even
he was a yogi when it
yogi,
happened.
yogi, yeah.
But it is not related to the heavenly enjoyment being illusory. Of course, you can say that Menaka came from heavenly planet.
Heaven planet, yeah.
Okay.
And she gave birth to Shakuntala. Is it? Yes. Is it right or I don't know?
Yeah, we are basically looking for evidence based on what we discussed so far to pinpoint, like Usha Mataji gave that evidence that even the residents of the heavenly planets also need to come down. They also need to die and come back to this earth after the pious credits are
Is it Jai Vijaya?
No.
Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, may I try? May I try?
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, in heavenly planet also, like the demigods, they also fear from the Patal Lok, like Rakshasas and somewhere. So that means they are also not like safer side.
Yes, very. So one point Sanjukta Mataji mentioned is that happiness that is enjoyed by the Devatas is also not unadulterated. They are also in anxiety that we see in the scriptures. Many of the brave kings of the Asuras, including Bali Maharaj and all, they also have previously attacked heavenly planets and driven out Indra and all the Devatas out of their kingdom. So their enjoyment is also not unadulterated. There also exist anxiety and fear. Anything else? Maybe one last try we give. Let me give you a hint. We just discussed it a while ago. What is peculiar characteristic of heaven. Rohini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Parijata flowers.
Parijata flowers, okay.
Prabhuji, I'll just try, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
you can try it.
Brahmaji, it is also given that Brahmaji himself has a lifespan of 100 years in Brahma's years. So even after that, Brahmaji, all the other heavenly planets, including Satyaloka, gets dissolved. And then they are also they also need to answer same as us. And depending on what karma they have done, they will get a place in their next life.
Yes, very true. So Mataji's answer is to the point that ultimately the planets like Swargaloka and all, what to speak of Brahma's end of life, yes, definitely they will get dissolved. But even during Brahma's life, every single day, there is dissolution at Brahma Sandhya. When Brahma's day is ending, when his evening is setting, all the material planets till the Swargaloka, they are all subject to dissolution. So every day of Lord Brahma, these heavenly planets are getting dissolved one after another. So that means they are temporary. So if they are temporary, how can the happiness that is derived on those planets can be something substantial? Because whatever is temporary, even if it is enjoyment, it is in a way no enjoyment, because there is always a fear, anxiety of that enjoyment being over. And for us, it may seem a very long span when the devatas are able to enjoy. But compared to Lord Brahma, it is not even a flash. Or compared to the eternity, Brahma's lifespan itself is less than a flash. So it is very, very small. So based on that, our Vaishnava Acharyas like Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, they say that while the impersonal liberation is like hell for a devotee, what to speak of the pleasures on the heavenly planets? It does not exist only. So at least if we consider impersonal liberation like 35% marks, then heavenly pleasures are like 0% or 2%, nothing at all, because it does not count only in terms of eternity. At least Kaivalya, it counts as part of transcendental perfection to a degree, but heavenly pleasures, they do not count only. Any question, comment, queries, Prabhuji's, Mataji's on this particular point?
Indraloka, is it, where is Indra, Prabhuji? Where does Indra stay?
Swargaloka, he is the king of the heaven.
Even that is subject to annihilation.
Yes, it is subject to annihilation on every single day of Brahma. Every single day.
So all his opulences also will go along with that.
Yes.
Achha.
And then that is when his lifespan and his kingdom is ending. But even during his lifespan, we see so many times when Indra has to face anxiety of losing his position. Like when Prithu Maharaj was performing Ashwamedh Yagya, he got anxious whether this person is performing Yagya to get my throne. When Vishwamitra was performing austerities, he got anxious whether this person is performing austerities and he will get qualified to get Indra's position. So even during that span, there is unlimited anxiety.
Anxiety for him. So Parijata flowers are in his loka.
Yes, yes. So there is Nandan Kanan garden in Indraloka, and Parijata tree exists as one of the trees of beautiful flowers in that garden.
So that's also an illusion, Prabhuji?
Illusion in the sense it is temporary. So why we call it as it is real existing heavenly planets, but why we call it illusory? Because it is subject to dissolution every single day of Brahma. Okay. And just one last point, that Prabhupada mentions in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there are three types of dissolutions. One is at the end of life of Lord Brahma. Second is at the end of day of Lord Brahma. So end of life of Lord Brahma, everything from Brahma Loka till Patala Loka, everything is dissolved. For end of day of Lord Brahma, every Loka till Swargaloka is dissolved. And Jiva Goswami mentions between the two Yuga Sandhyas, also sometimes, not often, But sometimes there is dissolution even when the yugas are changing, even that time as well. Okay.
Prabhuji, the sky that is being referred here, actually, it is which loka, which actually
This is within the earthly planet.
Ours only, earthly
Yeah.
planet.
Earthly planet only, ether. But just that he has given that analogy to explain how just like a flower blossoming in the sky does not exist, it exists for the namesake only. Similarly, the happiness for three Dashapura heavenly planets, it also exists for namesake only. It is not absolute. Is that all right?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. So let's proceed. Any other questions, comments, Prabhuji's, Mataji's on this specific point? Why Karmakanda portion is actually like a phantasmagoria, that particular word Srila Prabhupada uses in the purport. That means it exists for namesake only.
Prabhuji, excuse me, Prabhuji, in the earlier chapter, the worship of demigods is very much condemned. It's hellish actually. Is it that bad?
See, it is not so good that you ask this question. It will be answered in the next two set of verses. We will discuss on it, Mataji. Okay? How it is not bad, that's why it is there in Vedic literatures, but what should be devotees' outlook towards it? Okay? So we will touch upon this particular.
Yes,
Hare Krishna. Shall we proceed, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Any other question? Hare Krishna.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah. So for Brahma we saw, while the Sargaloka gets destroyed every day of Brahma, Brahmaloka lasts slightly longer, which is the whole lifespan of Brahma, which is also very, very small when compared to eternity. So we proceed. Who wants to recite? We have few hands raised. Usha Mataji, Hare Krishna, you want to recite?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Hare Krishna. Text 2.3. Atha kavirnam suyavadarthaha.
Atha
kavirnam suyavadarthaha.
Syada pramatto vyavasaya buddhihi.
Syada pramatto vyavasaya buddhihi.
Siddhenyatharthe nayate tatra.
Siddhenyatharthe nayate tatra.
Parishramam tatra samikshaman samanaha.
Parishramam tatra samikshamanaha.
Translation, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. For this reason, the enlightened person should endeavor only for the minimum necessities of life while in the world of names. He should be intelligently fixed and never endeavor for unwanted things, being competent to perceive practically that all such endeavors are merely hard labor for nothing.
Thank you, Mataji. Before we go to the purport, let us try to look at some of the words that Shukadev Goswami has used in this particular verse. So in the first line, Shukadev Goswami is saying, Atah Kavir. Kavir means very intelligent person, a knowledgeable person. So that's why an intelligent person should endeavor for something that has artha. Artha means that has substance, that has substantial meaning, and not run after something that is namasu yavat. Namasu means which exists for namesake only. So this namasu word is referring to the word namabhir in the previous verse, where he has mentioned that all these other panthas which talk about the heavenly pleasures and all, they exist for namesake only. That means the substantial happiness does not exist. And to that context, he is mentioning that an intelligent person should not run after that pleasure which exists for namesake only, but should try to accept that which has got some artha, which has got some meaning, which has got some substance. Syat apramatto vyavasaya buddhi. And then his intelligence will be fixed. If he knows what is of artha, what is of substance, then he would have a vyavasayatmika buddhi, like Srila Prabhupada describes in Bhagavad Gita 241. And then he would not endeavor for something which is unwanted, which is substandard, which is not worth endeavoring for. Parishramam tatra samikshanamaha. And knowing that such hard labor for achieving happiness, which is for namesake only, it is not worth it. Such a kavi or intelligent person should pursue for something that is of artha, that is of substance. So these are all important verses, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. So please pay attention. Usha Mataji, go through the purports. Purport is long, so we will go through the highlighted part only.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Purport. The Bhagavad Dharma or the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam is perfectly distinct from the way of fruitive activities which are considered by the devotees to be merely a waste of time. The whole universe, or for that matter, all material existence, is moving on as Jagat simply for planning business to make one's position very comfortable or secure, although everyone sees that this existence is neither comfortable nor secure and can never become comfortable or secure at any stage of development. The whole...
those who are...
Okay, those who are captivated by the illusory advancement of material civilization, following the way of phantasmagoria, are certainly madmen. The whole...
Yeah, so we'll take a pause here.
Yes.
And what Srila Prabhupada is writing here, that while everyone knows, everyone sees that the existence in this material world is neither comfortable nor it is secure, and it can never become comfortable or secure at any stage of development. At the same time, the whole universe, or for that matter, all material existence, is moving on simply for planning business to make one's position comfortable or secure. That means not just us, but even residents of the higher planetary system, including the Devatas, etc. Everybody is engaged in making their position more and more comfortable and more secure. So Srimad Bhagavatam, if we go back to the translation, it is not against basic necessities of life. In fact, the first line of the verse says, enlightened person can still endeavor to get the basic necessities of life, but he should know what is of artha, and major part of his attention, focus, and energy should be guided towards that. And whatever is the day-to-day necessities of life, he can work hard to achieve that, but ultimate goal should never be ignored. So now my question to all of you, and I would request devotees who have not spoken to try answering. Don't worry, even if it is right or wrong. Can we think of any other verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which also gives a similar message that basic sustenance is not wrong? One can try for that, but after securing the basic sustenance of one's life, then one's life's pursuits should be guided towards the ultimate goal. Those who have not answered, I would request them to try. Devika Mataji, Murli Prabhu, Prema Prakash Prabhu, Rajiv Mukh Prabhu, Ananda Prada Mataji, Dhanya Dhameshwari Mataji, and other devotees. Try. We have seen that particular verse in our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, where it is mentioned that securing the basic necessities of life is allowed, but life's desires should be focused towards the ultimate goal of life. So don't answer randomly. Those who want to answer can raise your hands, and we would request one by one. Hare Krishna. Mamta Nagvekar Mataji, I see Manisha Mataji has also joined. Manisha Mataji, Hare Krishna. Mannat Mataji, Nityangi Mataji. I know for sure many of you know this verse. And even if you don't know, you're 50% sure, 10% sure, you can try. Rajiv Mukh Prabhu, you have unmuted. You want to try? Hare Krishna. I see Divya Rukmini Mataji has raised her hand. Hare Krishna Mataji, unmute.
No, Prabhu, I don't know the sloka, Prabhu. I'm
Okay,
just taking.
okay, okay. I know for sure that you know that shloka, Mataji, for sure. Maybe you are not just recollecting. You can say, okay, let me give you a hint. Now many of you would realize, if I give the translation, that the life desire should not be routed towards sense gratification. While the bare minimum necessities of life are allowed to be fulfilled, the life's desire should be always focused towards achieving the ultimate goal. Mahesh Prabhu, Hare Krishna, you can try. You have raised your hand, Mahesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think one is that Sansiddhir Hari Toshanam Prabhuji.
Yes, you are close. Some
And
Siddhir
there
Hari,
is one Shrama Evi Kevalam, that verse also maybe.
some Siddhir Hari Toshanam basically talks about whatever assigned responsibilities as part of Varnashram system are there that are ultimately meant for pleasing Lord Hari. Only then they are successful. Otherwise, it is useless waste of labor, useless waste of time. Yes, you are very
I
close.
said Dharmasvanashtida Pumsam, Vichasena Katashuchau.
Now, don't go one by one through all the verses of chapter 2. The verse there only. I can give you that hint. But Prabhuji is very close. Okay, let me open that verse. It is there on the slide. 1 to 10. So we will try and recite this verse. Divya Rukmini Mataji, you want to recite?
Yeah, Kamasya Niyantriya Pratir Labho
You can recite
Jiveta.
in proper meter, so all of us we can follow. This is very important.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Kamasya Nendriya Pritir
Kamasyanendriya Pritir
Labho Jiveta Yavata
Labho Jiveta Yavata
Jivasya Tattva Jignasa
Jivasya Tattva Jigyasa
Nartho Yaschena Karmabhihi
Narthoyasya Karmibhihi.
Translation?
The life's desire should never be directed towards. One second, Prabhu. Okay. Never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's work. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So in this verse, Bhagavatam is clearly saying that we don't need to give up our day-to-day responsibilities. We don't need to give up what has been assigned to us by Varnashram system, as Mahesh Prabhu quoted that particular verse. One can have a life of self-preservation. That means keeping the meaning of self-preservation Prabhupada gives in this verse or in the current verse from Canto 2 that we are seeing. Self-preservation means keeping the body and the soul together. But as soon as that is secured, then one's focus should be on the ultimate goal, which is absolute truth. And nothing else should be the goal of one's life. So similarly, in this particular verse also Bhagavatam is saying, for this reason, the enlightened person should endeavor only for the minimum necessities of life, what is required to keep our body and soul together. Like it is, that statement is also mentioned. Yeah. But one should not try to over pamper oneself by planning business to make one's position more and more comfortable and more secure. One should focus towards ultimate goal of life. So Srila Prabhupada again mentions that later on. We will continue the purport and then we come to the slide. Usha Mataji, please start with the whole.
Yes, Prabhuji. The whole material creation is a jugglery of names only. In fact, it is nothing but a bewildering creation of matter like earth, water, and fire. Since the devotee of the Lord knows them perfectly well, he is not interested in creating unwanted things for a situation which is not at all reality, but simply names of no more significance than the babble of sea waves. The great kings, leaders, and soldiers fight with one another in order to perpetuate their names in history. They are forgotten in due course of time, and they make a place for another era in history. But the devotee realizes how much history and historical persons are useless products of flickering time. Since every second of human life is important, an enlightened man should be very careful to utilize time very cautiously. 1 second of human life wasted in the vain research of planning for happiness in the material world can never be replaced, even if one spends millions of coins of gold. The civilization which aims at this utmost perfection never indulges in creating unwanted things, and such a perfect civilization prepares men only to accept the bare necessities of life or to follow the principle of the best use of a bad bargain. Our material bodies and our lives in that connection are bad bargains because the living entity is actually spirit, and the spiritual advancement of the living entity is absolutely necessary. Human life is intended for the realization of this important factor, and one should act accordingly, accepting only the bare necessities of life and depending more on God's gift without diversion of human energy for any other purpose, such as being mad for material enjoyment. For a transcendentalist, it is a suicidal policy to be intimately in touch with the sense gratifiers of the world, because such a policy will frustrate the ultimate gain of life. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mother. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
So now we come to a very important part of today's discussion, which I did not want to skip or miss, which is the group discussion on this particular topic. But before that, I have shortlisted few more verses to be covered. So similar to the verse that we saw from the first canto, second chapter of Bhagavatam, we also see this particular verse in Bhagavad Gita. Anyone wants to recite Gita Mataji? Hare Krishna. You want to recite?
Krishna Guruji.
Yeah.
Yavanartha udapane
Yavan artha udapane
sarvataha samplutodake
sarvatah samplutodake
tavan sarveshu vedeshu
tavan sarveshu vedeshu
brahmanasya vijñātah.
brahmanasya vijanatah.
Translation.
Translation. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. PG 2.46.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So now we come to the point that was raised by Prema Priya Jayashree Mataji a while ago about the Devata worship. So Devata worship is definitely coming in the Vedic scriptures. It is part of the Vedic scriptures, like we showed in the slide a while ago, where the Puranas and Vedas are mentioned. So definitely it is not something arbitrary. It has been mentioned in the scriptures for a very specific purpose. So how do we understand which part of the scriptures to accept, and what is the purpose of that specific portion of the scripture? Why certain do's and don'ts are given the way they are? So this particular verse of Bhagavad Gita, we can take from Krishna, where he mentions that a big reservoir of water, it can fulfill all the different purposes. Say, for example, if we want to take a small portion of water for drinking, we can take it and be satisfied. If we want to utilize another small portion of water to support our other necessities, say washing clothes, etc., one can take that and still be satisfied. Similarly, the animals, they also can take their necessities of water to maintain their bodies and be satisfied. So all these purposes can be satisfied if we know what is of artha, what is of substance in our life, what is the ultimate goal we need to pursue. So all these scriptures, they are like different instructions are being given for persons of different backgrounds. What to speak of scriptures, even if we considered a scripture like Bhagavad Gita, for example. In Bhagavad Gita, we see verses in 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna, 2nd and 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna does talk about cooperation with the devatas. Like one verse I have quoted here, 3:12. He mentions that we have an understanding with the devatas and we offer them what is coming from them, and thus in cooperation with devatas, we can get in ample whatever supplies, whatever necessities of life that we are in need of. So this particular verse, when we compare with the other instructions of Bhagavad Gita, say for example, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, they may seem contradictory, but are they contradictory? Not at all. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, or for that matter, any other Vedic literature, is targeting specific audiences to gradually bring them to the level of pure devotional service. So an intelligent devotee, a kavi, knows that this particular instruction in the Veda or this particular instruction in the Bhagavad Gita, in what context it has been given for a specific audience to rise in their life towards the platform of transcendental realization. And through that particular understanding, an intelligent devotees know what is for my following, what is for my application. I will take that and I will perfect my life. Similar to this water reservoir that is shown, the whole water reservoir is given by the Lord. That does not mean that we try to claim ownership towards the whole pool of water and not let any other living entity take their quota of water. We understand that even if this is a huge reservoir of water that has been provided by God, what I need is few cups of water to quench my thirst and few buckets of water to manage my day-to-day cleaning, etc. But I don't need the whole reservoir. Let others also utilize whatever they are in need of. Similarly, even if all these instructions are given in the scriptures and also in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam as well, we understand in what context Shukadev Goswami is saying this, in what context Lord Krishna is saying this, and what is the artha that I need to pursue in my life. If that is clear, then what instruction we need to follow and what instructions are meant for which particular classes of people, that intelligence will also be given to such a kavi, to such an intelligent devotee. And based on that study of applicability of that particular instruction, we can perfect our life. We would not be confused. Why is Krishna saying this as well and that as well? We would be very clear with that. So similarly, coming back to the point on the Devata worship, definitely it is part of the Vedic scriptures, but ultimately it is meant for persons whose desires are stolen because of their pursuit of material happiness. And to fulfill that pursuit of material happiness, such persons, according to Bhagavad Gita, they choose the path of Devata worship. And Krishna mentions ultimately it is also worship of Krishna, but in a Vidhi Purvakam format, in not authorized format, unauthorized format. So definitely it is valid part of the scripture, but it is meant to cater to a persons of a particular category. If we want to get stuck in the material world, then yes, we can be happy with that particular section, follow that, and it will be a gradual elevation to devotional service. But if we want to perfect our life in this particular lifetime only, then we have to rise to the ultimate stage of pure devotional service and then follow those particular instructions which are meant for devotees. Does it answer your question, Prema Priya Jayashree Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, still I'm not answered. Sorry, excuse me, Prabhuji. Now we have family deities, Prabhuji, which have come before we joined this Krishna consciousness movement. It has been followed from times. Now, should we stop that?
No. So answer is not that. We often mention that even in our level 1 courses, whatever is coming as part of family tradition, you continue, but at least have your consciousness that these specific set of personalities, devatas, you serve them as servants of Lord Krishna. Then they will be more happy. We don't serve them to get material benefits.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. That of course I do.
Yeah.
I do that.
We don't need to stop the family tradition that can be continued, but we don't need to introduce anything afresh.
Yeah. It was even hellish. So I got worried, Prabhuji. Demigod worship is hellish. I got felt.
Mentioned as hellish, it is just mentioned even within Devata worship, there are categorization. There is Devata worship in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So only the worship in the ignorance, yes, we should avoid definitely.
Yes, Prabhuji. I got it.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, just in addition, I think the Bhagavatam verse only 1 to 27, Prabhuji, purport, Srila Prabhupada has very clearly, because this verse also, third verse of this chapter, is talking about, Bhagavad Dharma in the purport, So I think Prabhupada in 1 to 27 has very clearly categorized all the forefathers worship, demigods worship as Katava Dharma, which was in second verse of the Mangalacharan. And then finally he concludes the purport 1 to 27, Prabhuji, not 2 to 27, 1 to 27, Prabhuji, first canto, second chapter, 27th verse. So he very clearly, I think the purport also starts with, I think the first line of the purport itself, I think is starting that why people do this, there is no need to worship demigods of whatsoever category one is serious about going back to Godhead. And I think translation says the people who worship, the forefathers or maybe demigods, so they are basically doing it for materially benefited with women, wealth, power, and progeny. Then final line, I think, of this purport is very important, where I think he's introducing Bhagavad Dharma versus Katava Dharma or all other, whatever has been described earlier, other types of worship, this sort of religious activity, I think, of multi-gods, I think the previous line, worshipping the demigods for material gain is practically, as you mentioned, I think for material gain is practically perversity of religion. I think that's condemned actually. And then he highlights what is Bhagavad Dharma very briefly, that religion which teaches one to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and no one else. I think exclusive devotion to Krishna, I think, is being highlighted as the Bhagavad Dharma.
Right. But it is again, this is for the devotees who are exclusively dedicated to Krishna, Akinchana Bhaktas. But of course, we cannot say that either at this level or at this level. It is a gradual progression. So specifically in the context that Mataji has been asking if there are any family traditions, we don't want the family members or anyone else for that matter to be antagonized and taken away from Krishna. So let it be worship Krishna, but since those other devatas are there on the altar, they also can be respected as the servants of Lord Krishna. I'll give one small reference and then we move to group discussion because I don't want to skip it. It's a very important part of today's discussion I had planned. In the Western countries, when Srila Prabhupada had approached a set of churches to be allocated for temple premises, as temple premises, those authorities were a bit reluctant, but Srila Prabhupada was trying to reason that, look, anyway, the service is not happening in this place on a weekly basis. Not many people are also coming and participating. So better this place be utilized as a vibrant place, preaching spiritual culture. And as far as giving respect to Lord Jesus Christ is concerned, we accept Lord Jesus Christ as the Son of God And we can keep a photo of Lord Jesus Christ. This is in writing in Srila Prabhupada book, that we can keep a photo of Lord Jesus Christ on the altar as the Son of God, along with the deities of Radha, Krishna and Gaur-Nitai, whatever is there, and worship him like we worship our existing acharyas. So Srila Prabhupada does mention. So does it mean that even in our normal temples we do keep the photo? No. But because those worshippers were attached to that particular personality, Srila Prabhupada was willing to accommodate and offer proper respect, but at the same time not compromise with the standard what Acharya has given us. So with this, shall we move to the last part, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, or we do it next time? Because I think we have almost finished.
Maybe next time, Prabhuji. I have a related question, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So in our families, basically, maybe brothers' family, other families, you know, so what we see, I think, because they worship, also they worship Radha Krishna also. But like we see in ISKCON, I think how the deities are kept is, you know, Supreme Personality is kept on top, and then the other avatars as basically below, and then the acharyas and the parampara and Srila Prabhupada, you know. So there's a, you know, we see the steps basically, you know. But normally when we go to the home temples, you know, typically we see, for example, you know, the let's say the Shakti, you know, Durga Devi, for example, is the biggest, you know, then all other will be, because there's no platform as such, you know, the different platforms are not there. Obviously we don't comment, but I don't know, maybe how do we, you know, because I think because that's how the worship happens, you know. And maybe if we go to, let's say, Maharashtra, you know, maybe I think it will be very big idol of Ganesha, you know, Vinayaka kept, and then all others will be kept also. But maybe, you know, even Radha Krishna, Ram, Darbar, everything will be kept, but, you know, they'll be, you know, kept either on the same or even a lower platform. So how do we maybe, you know, so take that typically, you know, when we, and obviously we don't preach in families, right? Unnecessarily preaching, because I think that creates a lot of conflicts, as I think Mataji tried to hint. So maybe how do we take this kind of situations?
Very important and practical question. And in Bhagavad Gita, there is one reference by Lord Krishna where he mentions, I think it is in that middle portion only, in the Bhakti Yoga portion, chapter 7 to 12, where Srila Prabhupada mentions that himsa or violence is of different types. One type of violence is violence in terms of words, in terms of physical actions, which is at a physical level. But another type of violence or ahimsa, opposite of himsa, ahimsa that the devotees follow, is also not to let others' faith be affected in any particular manner, either by their words, actions, either by their body, mind, or words. So we take care that these personalities, either our relatives, friends, or ordinary people, they are also connected to Krishna through the medium of these devatas. And we don't want to disturb their faith and break that cycle of gradual elevation on the path of Krishna consciousness. If we do it in an immature state, even if, say, for example, they are supposed to come to Krishna worship at a later part in this particular life or many lives later, we are breaking that particular cycle so that their chance of coming to Krishna will get further prolonged, for sure. If their faith is, because we don't know how long that person will need to rekindle that faith, to rebuild that faith. So how I typically take care is minimum. If we can bring them closer to Krishna, that is good. But at least if we are not able to do that, what thing we should definitely take care is we don't take them away from Krishna by harming their faith, what they are following. So if they are able to take Krishna along with everything else they are doing, that is good and best. That is much better. If they are not able to do that, let them at least continue to worship Krishna avidhi purvakam, which is indirect worship through the devatas. At least that way they are connected to Krishna. And definitely Krishna has much more anxiety to bring each and every one of his missing children more than what any of us we have. So he is more anxious and he will definitely arrange. So if we can, definitely we should, but without harming their existing faith. That is what I take care, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
And I have practically seen, especially in our immature state, when we just come to Krishna consciousness, when the enthusiasm is there, but it is not completely matured, there is a maximum chance that we can do harm to others' faith if we are not careful. If we are not careful.
That's true, Prabhuji. One maybe I think in the recent visit to Delhi and Vrindavan, I also visited brothers and cousins, families. So in actually the discussion came, and I did not started that discussion, but one of the Mataji said in our family, saying that actually Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, they are Tridev, they are the highest devatas, but all above them is Mata Rani, the Durga Devi basically. So I kept quiet. I don't know whether keeping quiet is good or not in good, but it was a family setting, so I kept quiet and I said, yeah, maybe I think Mata Rani only guides them on the right path. But I mean, that was the silent prayer inside, but maybe I kept quiet. Is that right, or should we really speak in this kind of thing?
Depends on two things. If by our speaking, what will be the result? Are they going to become devotees, or it is just going to burn the bridges and next time they won't even open up? So we can keep that bridge open so that at later point in time, maybe once they have sufficient sukruti, they can accept Krishna consciousness. For now, even if we keep quiet, just give them prasadam, try to bring sukruti some way or other, rather than, and typically we find that unless we have that adhikar, unless we have that credit, emotional credit with them, it is not that anybody will take to Krishna consciousness just by winning over an argument. The chances are very less. What to speak of relatives, even dealing with own parents, I still take care that, I don't offend them in any specific manner. Unke hisab se, dhire dhire, as they are able to, as long as they are able to accept worship of Lord Krishna, I am happy. Whatever you want to worship rest, it is up to them. But gradually.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So
that extends to even children also, Prabhuji.
Yes, even to children, yeah. Anyone for that matter.
Anyone.
We don't want to let anyone go away from Krishna. And he knows, as I mentioned, he has the greatest concern for every living entity more than us. So we have to be very careful. Hare Krishna. Prema Prakash Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, you wanted to share something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I believe in this English saying that don't start a war which you can't win. And most of the wars that are described just now with the relatives and friends and their faith and asta is something you will never be able to win over completely. So it's better not to start the war at all. That's the principle that I follow. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, this specific group discussion activity I wanted to conduct, we will have it next time. We will start, maybe you can read the topic and structure your thoughts. And next time when we start, we'll start with this group activity. And coming set of verses, they are very, very important, text 4 onwards. So we discussed how bare necessities of life one can secure, but after that, life should be focused towards what is of artha. Artha means not economic development, artha means what is of substance. So Shukadev Goswami specifically explains how that pursuit towards the artha can be done while taking care of bare necessities in an ideal fashion. So text 4 onward, these are very important set of verses. Don't miss the discussion. Hare Krishna. So we will conclude here.
Prabhuji, one last point. I
Yes.
think PS Murthy point you wanted to discuss. Maybe we discuss one last time.
Yes.
PS Murthy Prabhu had a doubt.
Murthy Prabhuji, you wanted to ask something, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I wanted to ask, but it seems we are running out of time.
You want to ask next time? Is it over? You can ping me. I will bring it up for discussion next time.
No, I'm supposed, Prabhu, I have a presentation in the evening. So
Okay.
I need this information for it. It is related to what Mataji discussed about Brahma. In the 10th canto, do you know the specific shloka which tells about the multiverse, the division of different Brahma shown to Brahma. Is there any specific verse, Prabhu?
Yes, I will dig it out and I will share on WhatsApp, Prabhuji.
I have just come across one sloka, Prabhu, 10th canto, 13th chapter, 44 sloka.
Hang on, 1 second. Let me stop the live first. Rasarangini Mataji, are you able to do that? Where is the option? Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
You have to click on the 3 dots, Prabhuji, down below.
Hang on, I did click the 3 dots here on
Stop live.
Sometimes it shows
Down below you have 3 dots. More karke. So if you click on that, you'll get.
Oh, Krishna.
It's recording in progress.
You can stop the recording. Stop recording. All right. So, Murthy Prabhu, allow me to dig out and give you the reply on chat. 2 o'clock, there is another Bakthi Vaibhav. So, I need to rush and prepare, Prabhuji. Okay.
Yeah, Prabhu, can you please ping me after that?
I will check. Yes, Prabhu. After that, I will ping you.
I have a presentation in the evening to make.
What time?
7 o'clock, Prabhu.
Okay. So, after 4, I will ping you, Prabhuji. Okay.
Yeah, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
I need the specific stroke which tells about the vision that Brahma gives, Krishna gives to Brahma about several Brahmas, multiple
Yes,
Brahmas.
I got your point. I will dig that verse out, ping you, and then call you, Prabhuji. Okay?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Appreciate. And Murli Prabhu, thank you very much for reminding.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kalpatarubhyascha sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Vaishnav Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavad pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Dhanyavad Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.